thanks to the support as a channel member, Cameron Coldwell. Still not top of the Liga, and now we've had a little bit of a wobble in the Champions League as well. Nothing's ever straightforward with this game. Hello and welcome to Club 6, part 15 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a Champions League game at home against Celtic and we're away against Valencia in La Liga. Since you were last with me, I mentioned little bits of wobbles. We had a double wobble back-to-back straight after the last episode. We lost to Sevilla in La Liga, which once again, similar to the Villarreal one earlier on, the only two teams that have beaten us so far this season are the two teams currently above us in the league, and we're still only 3 points off the top. So I'm not worried yet. But if we keep losing to these two teams, there'll come a point where one of them just wins the league. And we realise we probably shouldn't have kept losing to them the way we have. But arguably even more worrying was going to Celtic and losing 1-0. Not a match I expected to lose. We are still top of our group, but now only level on points with Milan. We play Celtic at home now, knowing that we really need a win. If Celtic trip us up again, they're going to look very strong along with Milan as teams who could force through into the knockout rounds, and that would be an absolute disaster if we didn't make it out of our group. We are just about committed to the diamond at this point. Posibon, I just pretty much I've given up with that boy now. We did have a little bit of a chat with Philippe Leonard off the back of yesterday's video. People suggested criticise his form. I did that. He had one good game, but luckily, it was 2 games ago, so hopefully it's a sign of a bit of a comeback going on. But as you can see, the chat was directly after yesterday's video, so after the Real Madrid game, and he's given me a 6.4, a 6.7, a 6.8, a 6.6, and that 9.2 where he scored a goal. But for context, that Granada game, we did win 7-0. So the fact that he scored 1 goal in that game where Laszlo Banfalvi scored twice, I mean, the corners worked quite well in this game, as you can see. Correa got a couple of goals. Vermonti came off the bench and scored. It does feel a little bit like he probably could have done better. He got a 9.2 by default because we won 7-0. But I still don't think he's playing well, and we need him to come back and start playing well today. So, the diamond formation for the Celtic game. We've got Bajic in goal, a back four of Milaniemi, Paredes, Banfalvi and Krajju. Camavinga at the base of the midfield. I know people are saying, Kev, you shouldn't be playing Camavinga there. He's been awesome as well. Him and Vermonti are both incredible in this role. I'm just sharing the load between the two of them. I know it's not ideal for Powell's, who has fallen well down the pecking order, not even in the Champions League squad, and realistically probably needs to go out on loan at this point, because we've got 2 very good players ahead of him. Even Banfalvi is considered a better defensive midfielder than Powell's at this point, so Powell's needs to go out and get some game time somewhere, and it's not likely to be us with Vermonti and Camavinga ahead of him. But Camavinga gets the nod today. Van der Veen and Hendricks ahead of him. Gila behind Correa and Leonard. Gila is another one who's just in the way of a young player, and there's not a lot we can do about it because Gila himself is only 24. He's got years ahead of him, but it does mean in this system he plays as the attacking midfielder, which means there's still no room for Navillo, which I can't even find him. Was he on the bench? Well, oh yeah, he's down there on the bench, but he's another one who really, really, really needs game time, but isn't really getting it. But at least he is first reserve for a game like this to come on in behind the strikers. So let's get into the game. No Mbappe, because Mbappe's picked up a knock. Berisic, by the way, we talked about his injury problems in the last episode. Unbelievably, he's managed to get himself injured again. So far this season, he's had a major injury with a broken ankle, came back with a tight groin, and then whilst still injured with his tight groin, in training, he's managed to... he's injured himself with impact from a fall. He wasn't even full training because of his tight groin. What's he fallen off of? I think the man's gone horse riding and hurt his hip. It's ridiculous. But we are now actively looking for a right back because I'm pretty sure Berisic is done. He's 30 years old. He can't get fit. It's one injury after another. He's now showing as injury prone on his coach report. So I think we're done with him. We need to bring another right back in. Potentially as early as Christmas, because Krajju's having to play every single game at the moment because remember Krajju was brought in as my right back / reserve left back, and now he's the only right back we've got apart from Banfalvi, and I don't want to play him out there. So I've put a call into Jair, see if he's available. He's not keen, but he is keen, but we can't afford him. £80 million for Jair, apparently, to come in and compete with Kryju. In the same way Camavinga's competing with Vermonti. They'll play half the games each, probably. Van der Veen, he's not playing half the games. He's the player who's playing more than anybody because he's the form man. Jean-Paul Van der Veen, again, with the goal. He's our top scorer this season. 7 goals already. And that is a lovely little way to go 1-0 up against Celtic. And hopefully, get rid of the memory of them beating us at their place, where we were the best team. We dominated them with shots and possession and all that kind of thing. But we just didn't score and they did. Which for any young kids watching, wondering how to get into football management, if you can try and score while your parents don't, that's a good tip for winning football matches. So, did I say opponents or parents? I'm recording this too early in the morning. I don't normally come out and record the first video absolute first thing. I am doing that today because I've got a busy day of videos ahead of me. Got to get the ones for the weekend recorded. And now because of that, Celtic are taking advantage of my good nature and the fact I've still got sleep in my eyes. And they've grabbed an equaliser. It's Barcelona 1, Celtic 1. If this had been a knockout round, Celtic would be feeling very confident at this point because they managed to beat us 1-0 at their place. Now they've come to ours, got themselves an away goal. It's 1-1. They'd be ahead on aggregate, but luckily it doesn't matter. Van der Veen with the corner. Banfalvi hits the post and Paredes is there for the rebound. And these two are so dangerous from set pieces. We have a thing over on Twitch, which you should be watching Twitch, the corner hacks thing, because people keep accusing me of corner hacks. There are no corner hacks. But when you've got two very, very good attacking defenders, these two are just brilliant in the air. You don't need corner hacks when you've got these two. It's because in the Streamer Showdown I had Van Dijk, and he was a similar thing to having Banfalvi. They're both so dangerous, it feels like an exploit. But it's not. They're just really good in the air. Van der Veen again. 2 goals and assist for him in his first 22 minutes. Talk about an exploit. Van der Veen feels like one. None of us were overexcited when he arrived. It was like, oh, and Kev signed another midfield player that probably won't get in the team. Never mind. He's properly world-class, elite-level midfield player. I don't know. I mean, there's always the possibility he's just arrived in an absolute purple patch of form and he'll calm down eventually. But looking at his last few years with Wolfsburg, I don't know that that's the case. He scored 16 goals last year, 14 goals the year before. He's a very good attacking midfield player, and Camavinga's got his 4 for the season. That's something that he has that Vermonti doesn't. I know Vermonti probably controls a game better, and for the really big games, Vermonti is definitely going to be the man that we play in there. But in games like this one, where we don't necessarily need as much protection in front of our back 4, Camavinga does offer us a little bit more going forward, which he's shown there with his 4th goal of the season. He's scored more goals than Philippe Leonard this season so far from defensive midfield. Kryju now cuts it back to Correa. Our strikers haven't been involved yet. It's the midfield and the defence are just destroying Celtic. And I thought Van der Veen was going to get this hat-trick in spectacular fashion there, but it goes just wide from range. But yeah, if we could figure out a way to get our strikers working, imagine how good we'd be then. We're scoring goals for fun, but they're all coming from these areas. We've built a very good defence, a very good midfield, and we've got one of the best strikers in the world. He doesn't want to play for us anymore. I'm going to bring Vitor on 10, 15 minutes into the half again, take Leonard off, and I'm just desperate to get Vitor up and running, because once we do that, I think he's my man then, but he needs a goal to start him off. Correa scores. There you go. A 7th goal of the season for him. Criticising the strikers, but he absolutely doesn't deserve criticism because he's the one playing slightly out of position as the complete forward when he wants to be up there as the advanced forward that Leonard's getting to do as I try and play Leonard into form. But Correa's the one who is scoring a decent level of goals. And again, because the team's now playing so well, Leonard's rating gets dragged up, even though he has done literally nothing in this game. Gila now, with the corner, finds Correa this time, who's getting involved in the corner business. Probably shouldn't be getting in Banfalvi's way, but he very nearly pushed it past their goalkeeper. And this does feel like a revenge mission against Celtic now. They embarrassed us in the away game, and we are proving a point here in the return fixture. Milaniemi now, he's got loads of options ahead of him, but he's just going to run past his fullback and try and cross it, presumably. Plays it back to Van der Veen, cross to Correa, who hits the post. We haven't had a clear-cut chance yet in this game. I think that was our first half chance, which shows how impressive our shooting has been. Right, Leonard's going to come off. Vitor comes on. We're also going to bring on Navio for Gila. Neither of them are changes we have to make, but they're changes that, I mean, they're not going to do any harm making those changes, that's for sure, this early. I'll look to get Vermonti on as well, just to give him a bit more game time. I don't want Vermonti to get upset, but we'll oh, what an effort from Gila. Very nearly sticking that in the top corner again. Gila goes over to take the corner. In fact, he doesn't. Van der Veen takes it because the substitutions have gone through. There's Banfalvi again, this time straight at the keeper. But every time we get a corner, Banfalvi just gets better and better. Of course, back when we were at Bayern, he did score a hat-trick in the Champions League group games at one point, and I think he got into double figures for goals in one of the seasons at Bayern. He gets more and more dangerous the older he gets. I guess as his mentals improve, as he gets older, he gets better and better at doing headers and stuff, which doesn't make sense, but I don't care, because Renan Vitor has finally got his first goal for the club. It's a lovely little tap-in. It's exactly what he needed. It's 6-1 to Barcelona, and hopefully this is now him off and running, and we don't need to worry about Philippe Leonard anymore. Lovely little tap-in effort from Renan Vitor. And if we go with Correa and Vitor from now on, and they both score goals, I'm not going to be at all upset. Van der Veen with the corner. It falls to Camavinga, and it's just over. There's still 25 minutes left of this game, and we are absolutely rampant. Milan are up there with us as well. We're very close to qualifying from the group, actually, because both us and Milan are winning. Celtic theoretically still in with a chance, but realistically it's not going to happen. We're going to bring on Vermonti to play at the base of the midfield. Camavinga is going to go a little bit further forward, which again is something he can offer that Vermonti can't. I'm not trying to prove Camavinga is better than Vermonti. I know he's not. It even says on there that Vermonti's an elite midfielder. Camavinga's a world-class midfielder. Elite, I believe, better than world-class. But Vermonti can't do that. Camavinga's second of the game. It's 7-1 now. There's probably an argument that he should be in ahead of Hendricks, because Hendricks is kind of the forgotten man in this new-look Barcelona team, where Van der Veen's the attacking superstar that we thought Hendricks was going to be. So maybe we go with Camavinga and Van der Veen as our first-choice central midfield partnership, with Vermonti behind and Gila pushed further forward. But I think it's probably time for us to praise them. They've done quite well today. Navilo with the free kick, and this time the goalkeeper does manage to keep hold of it. Paredes was lurking. He probably fancies another goal today, because I think, was it him who opened the scoring? It seems so long ago now, because we've scored so very many goals. Banfalvi lumping it forward towards Correa again. Let's get it back to Vitor. Let's get the boy a hat-trick to really get him up and running. Correa's trying to do what Kryju normally does, and he's just running until someone fouls him. I thought he was going to get the ball back there for the cross. Celtic desperately clearing it, but only as far as Milaniemi, who just dances past their defender like they're not there. Cross comes in to Correa, falls to Van der Veen, who's still looking for a hat-trick. Navilo to Van der Veen. Navilo again. What a goal from Sergei Navilo. Oh my word, it's Barcelona 8. Celtic 1. We might have stumbled across our team now, because this team is getting better and better and better. And this is new look Barcelona at its finest. Milaniemi, Van der Veen, Navio, none of them were in the team last year. None of them were even playing for us in the second half of yesterday's season, because Navio was out on loan. New look Barcelona is here, boys and girls, and it's a terrifying prospect. Banfalvi playing it forward to Camavinga. We want 9. Kryju just dancing into the penalty area. Finds Correa. There's number 9. This is ridiculous. I almost feel bad for Celtic, but frankly, it serves them right for embarrassing us at their place. They held us to. They stopped us scoring in Scotland. So we have to do 2 matches worth of goals today. It's a lovely finish from Correa. How Leonard doesn't get in this team at the moment. How do we put him in? We've got Kylian Mbappe due to come back as well. 42 shots, 24 of them are on target, 9 goals. Barcelona 9, Celtic 1. That was a good performance. More of that, please. Little bit of rotation for the Valencia game then. I'm giving Leonard one more try. I can't get away from the fact, not interaction, I can't get away from the fact that he's a 5-star player and he did that last year. We've got to give him time to get himself sorted. But I am quickly running out of patience. I think if Vitor had more than 52% match fitness, he might be getting the nod today. Mbappe recovering from an injury. Otherwise, he might have got the nod today. But as it is, Leonard is the fit man in possession, so he gets to keep his place for one more game. Lots of changes elsewhere though. Messias comes in at left back, Vermonti comes in at the base of the midfield. We're resting Van der Veen, so Gila drops back to play alongside Hendricks in midfield. Navio coming in for a rare start after his good performance coming off the bench, and of course Correa and Leonard keeping their places up front. This squad rotation lark is hard. I don't like it. I almost feel like I prefer to have like a squad of maybe 14 players who are really, really good and the rest not good enough. I know that becomes a problem when you get injuries or when you get a lot of games, but that's kind of how we did things at Bayern Munich. We kind of knew who our 11 was and we knew who our first 2 or 3 subs were. Whereas here, it's pretty difficult to nail down what my 11 is, and there's sometimes where players who you could make an argument should be in that 11 can't even get onto the bench. We've got too many very, very good players here at Barcelona, and I can't cope with it. I can't figure out how to make sure everyone stays happy. Oh, we've gone behind. I just had Sid, our 4th choice centre-back, who's came through the Barcelona youth team. He is very handy for squad building purposes. And I've just had him come to me and say that he wants to go out on loan again, like he went on loan to Tottenham in the second half of last season, because he's not getting anywhere near the team. And I can see his point. He's not getting anywhere near the team. When I arrived, he'd just broken into the team alongside Gillane, and they were the 2 starting centre backs the season before I arrived. And I came in and signed Banfalvi and Paredes over the top of them both. So I can understand Sid not wanting to be here because he can't even get on our bench, but we need him because he's the only player, well, one of the only players we've got, Gila's the other obvious one, who's good enough to play for us, even though he's not good enough to play regularly, but good enough to sort of be in the Barcelona squad, who helps us with our homegrown figures for the Champions League, for the league. But he doesn't want to be here because I can't play him. How do I rotate someone like that into the team enough to make him happy? I just don't think it's possible. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we need to get him playing right back so Kraju can have a rest. Maybe we need to get Banfalvi out playing right back a little bit more. How have we gone from destroying Celtic to another Champions League hangover, this time against a team who are way below us in the league? This happens too often. Right, that hasn't worked. So we're going to bring Van der Veen on, who we know is in incredible form. Messias is having a terrible game. We're just rebuilding the team from the last match. And then I think we need to get Mbappe on. And I know Leonard has been the best of the front 3 at the moment, but my thoughts are Leonard's the man not in form. Get him off. Triple change. Show some passion. Let's see if we can at the very least get an equaliser, because we're losing too many of these awkward little games 1-0. And they're always around Champions League games as well. Van der Veen plays it into Kraju, who charges past his defender and then, rather than waiting to be fouled like he normally does, has a shot that probably should have been a cross. I don't know why Kraju's come all the way over here to take that throw. That's weird. Paredes plays it all the way back to Bajic, who's way out of his area, but, you know, sweeper keeper and all that. Now Banfalvi plays it all the way back to him. This is a weird highlight. I think we're going to mess up and concede a goal here, aren't we? Paredes to Banfalvi again, unless we're about to score an absolute wonder goal. Vermonti out to Kraju, who's made it back over to the right-hand side, and then plays it back to Vermonti again, who misses out. There's the mistake. We knew it was coming. Didn't expect it to be from that man. Hendricks gets the tackle in, but it ends up being a through ball, and luckily Bajic is there to make the save, but we faffed about too much there and caused problems for ourselves, and now Valencia have a corner and a goal here, and we're in real trouble because this league, I mean, I guess to be fair, it only leaves us 4 points off the top of the league, but we shouldn't be 4 points off the top of the league. This isn't a very good league. That's what I'm learning. Yes, we're losing against a few of these teams, but when we do win, we absolutely batter people. Oh, for goodness sake, this shouldn't be happening. This should not be happening. So, geniuses in the comments section. Am I rotating too much after Champions League games? Or am I not rotating enough after Champions League games? The Champions League hangover has always been a thing that I've moaned about. It is costing us dearly this season. Suggestions, please. Because that looked like a team more than capable of beating them there. And it wasn't. And that's stupid. It's really stupid. Right, we will be back tomorrow for probably the final Champions League game, group game against Galatasaray, because depending on how the Milan games goes, that might actually still be a decider. If not, we might go a little bit further. We won't trade a Super Copper this year. You all made your point last year. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.